Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast, The Change Agent, sponsored by Beyond the Glare and Kalina Vision Professional Services, where we dive into real-world challenges and strategies of leadership, team management, leading remote teams, project management, and being an empathetic leader and more. Whether you're leading a new team or trying to energize an existing one, we've got some good insights, tips, and stories to help you succeed as a leader and inject value fast into your organization. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Eric, and today we're talking about something that can make or break a project. That's building a strong team and keeping them motivated. Now, I've managed some large and small teams over the past 27 years or so, and I have a lot of experiences that I think can give you some value to see not only how I've succeeded, but also how I responded to failure. Now, every successful project starts with a strong team. This is especially true when you're engaged in some project transition as an outsider or you're a non-incumbent, which means you're taking over a project that you didn't have before. Building a strategy to develop a strong team is also critical when you've not worked with most of the members on that team before. But what does it mean to actually have a strong team? A great team isn't just about technical skills or capabilities. It's about being able to collaborate, having trust, sharing goals, and most importantly, empathy. I'll share why I say in just a few minutes, most importantly. Now, one thing I've learned in my career is that the best teams are built. They're not just assembled. Building takes thought, and assembling is, what I like to call the IKEA model of team development. You can't just hire the right people and expect some magic to happen. You have to intentionally create an environment where people feel valued and supported. You have to have a plan. Understand the risks before they become issues and develop responses to that, because if your team fails, the project fails. So even if deliverables are made on time, they may lack quality and your team's overall motivation is degraded. I want to share a quick story that recently in my career I was picked to lead a multi-million-dollar project where the customer we had was one that I had not worked with before. I had two major challenges right up front. I had a team where I knew about 20% of the people. This meant that I had to engage them quickly, learn, and motivate them quickly. Number two, the customer had negative history with the group in a previous tender, and this meant that this rare second chance, if you will, was not only an important opportunity to help turn things around for the group, but it was also a climb up the metaphorical Mount Everest of projects. With little gear, by the way. You talk about being stressed. I started through personal engagement with not only the team, but all the stakeholders as well. And I was relentless in demonstrating my commitment to the team and to my project, regardless of what company those people worked for. This demonstrative leadership encouraged trust from the team, the visible example of fairness and integrity, which also builds trust. It opens communication to ensure effective management of all expectations. These together begin to spotlight the risks so that you're not just hunting them down in the dark and doing all that good stuff, but you're trying to find them first and responding to those to remove them from the risk register before they become an issue. So how do you actually build a strong team? Well, here are some of the key strategies that I used. First, you should evangelize your commitment to bringing fair and empathetic leadership, pun intended. You have to preach it. Be careful, though, because you just don't say things that you think people want to hear. Mean what you say and say what you mean. These things are based on your team building plan, which is something you would have created before. Even if this is just a scratch on a piece of paper of how you're going to engage your team, you should have something to go by. Number two, you should state and visually show clear roles and expectations. People need to know exactly what's expected of them, how their work fits into the bigger picture, and where their value lies. Ambiguity is a fast killer of motivation. 3, psychological safety. This means creating an environment where people feel like sharing ideas is safe, admitting mistakes without fear is possible, and that you're going to have their back. Actually, Google did a study on high-performing teams, and psychological safety was one of the top factors in success. Lastly, shared purpose. When a team feels like their work matters, motivation skyrockets. A great leader connects the daily tasks to a bigger vision. This is where you got to have a keen eye for strategy, what the strategic vision is of the group. I strive to avoid the word I, because when I'm talking about the team, I'm talking about what we did and so on. Now, if only I did something, then yes, maybe this is fine. But strive to demonstrate that you recognize the value of effort from others and make those into the stepping stones for why you would want to see that person or persons elevated in the future in the team or on a different project, because it shows that you really care about their tomorrow. So now I want to talk a little bit about boosting motivation through team building. A disengaged team can be a major roadblock to project success. So there are a few ways you could go about keeping people energized and engaged. The first one I would go with is beginning a personal outreach to remote people. Attempt to use any form of virtual meetings with video and engage the team member. Get to know the person to ensure that they clearly see that you know where their value lies. This will go a long way later on, especially if you have to conduct some type of unfavorable conversation with them in the future. Recognize and celebrate wins. So it doesn't have to be a big thing, just acknowledge progress, and that will make a huge difference. When someone does something that removed a risk, a roadblock, or an obstacle, or maybe they helped another team member, whatever, engage them publicly in front of everyone, virtually or in person, and ensure that the spotlight is on that effort and what impact that positive action had. Next, you could try encouraging growth and development. People stay motivated when they're learning and they're growing, but carry it far beyond that. Go the extra step and set up opportunities that people can apply to right away. Don't ask about who's interested in, say, the PMP certification, only to go back and find out that most of the burden will be on them, especially if it's like the cost of it. You should get management to sponsor this stuff first before you have it. As soon as you have that idea, and once you have it, tell the team about it. Tell them about the opportunity so that you can initiate the process of empowering them without any delay. Otherwise, you run a real heavy risk of losing the opportunity and degrading their trust in you, because you will appear to have not meant what you said. And we don't want to erase our integrity. Next, foster team building and bonding. Whether it's a casual check-in, a team lunch, or problem-solving activity or relationship, it all matters. This means that ensuring that all the team, regardless of their role or location, sees themselves as value bringers. A great tool to use here is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So broadly, this is a 5-level pyramid that outlines basic needs that people need in life and work to achieve self-actualization. These needs, of course, start with basic stuff like food, water, shelter, but then they go on to the feeling of purpose and having the innate need to succeed, realization of their potential, and being able to effectively operate in work and daily life. If you can achieve those things, then you've got a really strong start. For me, my teams see me virtually or in person. It can be engaging. I am in chat groups on Slack or Teams or wherever we may have some conversation going, and I include pertinent people on emails, and I don't waste people's time with emails and meetings that they don't need to be in. If they don't bring value there, if they don't have value for that particular thing that we're working on, then I'm just not going to include them. If they ask to be included, that's a different story. There are many ways that we can achieve success in team building and overall management, but these foundational requirements cannot be ignored. You can build a good team through clear vision and action. So to wrap up, building a strong, motivated team isn't about luck. It's about intentional leadership, clear communication, and creating an environment where people want to succeed. So that's about it for today's quick chat. If you enjoyed the episode and you found it useful, make sure to subscribe to the podcast and tune in for the next episode, where we will continue to dive into the things that matter for you as a leader and a manager. Thanks for listening, and remember, be the change agent that your team and organization needs.